Welcome back. I do apologize to State's Attorney, or rather, State's Attorney 4. We just presented the victim's syringe, in which Valen was using to fucking mess with the IV bag to make it seem like McAfee died much later than he actually did.
The victim's syringe?
I'm not tapped in. No, I'm tapped in. No, I'm not. No, I'm tapped in.
It's the perfect prop for the magically increasing IV trick. And easy enough for an amateur to use.
What kind of evidence is that? The syringe was clean, not a trace of liquid in it.
Don't you find that odd, Prosecutor Gavin?
What?
The victim had the syringe to administer his insulin shots. There should have been traces of insulin left inside. Well, Valid Grammary, as you pointed out yourself, the IV liquid makes the perfect clock. One that you could manipulate at will!
Yeah, look at that!
I do believe, well, with this being his first, that the burden of this trial has been a bit too much to bear for Prosecutor Gavin.
Thank you.
I'm afraid that while there is a doubt as to the amount of IV liquid in that bag, the time of death cannot be proven. And that brings our trial to a close for today.
Well, maybe I can squeeze an extra day out of this. Do a little much-needed investigation work.
I see there are no objections. Court is a... What the fuck?
Truly, there is no substitute for experience. Nothing blinds one to the truth so effectively. A word to the wise. Underestimate the young, and they'll sweep your feet out from under you in a way you never, ever expected. You see, I know exactly what you're thinking.
What's he talking about?
You say the witness used the syringe to manipulate the level of the IV liquid, but there is no proof.
There's no proof he didn't do it either.
Yes, quite true.
Huh? He's admitting it?
Nor was this witness quite as decisive as I hoped. This, I admit. After all, why linger in the past when the future holds so much?
You have something in mind, Prosecutor Gavin?
Proof, Herr Judge. I have another way to prove my case. With evidence, no less.
What's this?
This is the victim Magnifi Grammari's diary.
Diary?
After going into the hospital, Magnifi began writing his memoirs, it seems. The story of his birth, his studying debut, and the meeting of his disciples. It seems he intended for the last chapter to end, quite appropriately, with his death.
Wait, that book doesn't say what the reason was, does it? The reason why his disciples couldn't refuse his last request?
Sadly, it does not. What's important here is on the last page. Apparently, the victim wrote in his journal that night, even after the IV had begun at 11 p.m. Let's read it, shall we?
This does appear to have been written just before his death. The court accepts this into evidence.
Magnifi's diary, a memoir of sorts written up to just before he died. Let's take a look at this. Oh. Tonight's IV is in. Maybe the last. I should leave the rest of them. The first should come soon. This journal may end here or may go on, but not long. It depends on his hand. All that is left is mine to lay down this pen.
This is the last page. Diary ends here even though there's an obvious page ripped out. Huh? What's this? It looks like a page was ripped out. Well, now isn't that interesting?
Yes. Read the very last part with particular care. This journal may end here or it may go on, but not long. That depends on his hand. Of course, by his, he refers to our defendant, Zach Lamory.
That would make sense, yes. He was the first scheduled visitor, after all.
But look at what he said before that. This journal may end here or it may go on. It may go on. Magnific Lamory intended to write again. That is, if Zach Lamory didn't pull the trigger. I see the defense understands the meaning of this. The victim's diary does not go on. It ends. Because Magnific's life was brought to an end by the defendant, Zach Lamory.
Order, order, order! Prosecutor Gavin! Are you certain that Magnifique Lamory wrote this?
There is no mistaking his handwriting.
Well, this does seem to be significant. According to this, Magnifique did intend to continue his diary. Yet, if his diary ended here, which plainly it did,
then the one who pulled the trigger was the first visitor, Zach Lamory. Well, how do you like me now, right? Still too green for your tastes, hmm?
He's right about the diary being pretty clear. Still, I find it hard to believe that he'd overlook such an obvious problem with his precious evidence.
well, Mr. Wright, witness's testimony we heard was lacking, but put together with this evidence, it seems quite sufficient for a case.
The diary is accepted like this, the trial's over. Maybe it's time for me to show them something. Show some motherfucking evidence. I'm left with no choice but to show my own evidence.
What? You have some evidence that overturns this diary?
It's not too late to rethink this and avoid more embarrassment.
Very well. Please show us your evidence, Mr. Wright.
Incidentally, don't even think of showing us this diary I've just shown in the court. Now that we come this far, I hope you have something a little more decisive. Show us evidence that proves the victim continued writing his diary.
Alright, I'd be happy to. The decisive evidence proving that the diary didn't end with this page is the ripped out page of notebook paper. Signed Magnifique Lamory. First, take a close look at this diary. Note that a page has clearly been ripped out.
What's this? I hadn't noticed that at all.
That's why we're still here talking about this. As it just so happens, I have here what I believe to be the missing page.
I can't believe it!
Looking at this page, it's hard to imagine that the first visitor that night shot Magnifique Lamory. That's the defense's position.
Wait, let me see that. What in Sam Hill?
That's my name!
What? Oh,
Ugh.
it's kind of cute when you're a Sam.
Yeah.
Maybe this could be a thing down the road.
Fuck you, Your Honor. You fucked me over with so many trials.
That skinny little bitch. Why, this is the continuation of the victim's diary.
Note the torn edge of the page. It's a perfect match with the torn remains of the last page in Magnifique's diary.
Quite remarkable. Would you care to explain what all this means, attorney?
The diary continued after his first visitor came, which means that the victim was still alive after Zach Lamory left, leaving no one to take his life but the second visitor. Valet Lamory.
No. No!
The handwriting, too, matches that on the other pages. This is, without doubt, the genuine article. Order! Order! Order, I say!
But wait! That's impossible! That old man couldn't have written that!
Objection!
Finally. You just couldn't resist, could you? Right.
Resist what? Presenting solid evidence?
Judge?
Yes, Prosecutor Gavin?
Right, I request we put the current cross-examination on hold. The prosecution would like to call a new witness.
But Prosecutor Gavin, this evidence overturns the current witnesses.
I ask only to put it on hold. Please. My new witness has a very, very important piece of testimony to give. 5 minutes. No more. I promise, Your Honor.
Well, if you put it that way, Mr. Wright, what's your take on this?
Well, Your Honor, judging from his enthusiasm, we'll have to hear this new testimony sooner or later anyway. So it might as well be sooner.
Then, though this is highly irregular, we will put the current cross-examination on hold. The witness may step down. Now, Prosecutor Gavin, please bring the surprise witness to the courtroom.
I had a bad feeling just then. That ripped out page was too obvious. He must have known. And I should have known it was a bad sign all around.
Holding trial with no audience is a first, even for me, Prosecutor Gavin.
I beg the court's understanding. But I had to make a judiciary deal with the witness to secure his testimony.
A judiciary deal?
The details of his testimony may have some legal ramifications, shall we say. I thought it's best to contain the information to this room.
Very well. And you are the witness, I gather?
Oh, yes. Yes, sir. State your name and occupation for the record. My name's Drew Misham. I'm a painter.
A painter! And you are somehow related to this case?
No, well, not per se. I have a simple question for this witness. Mr. Misham, was it? Do you know what this is? Oh, yeah. I know it well.
How's that possible? Have you seen this diary page somewhere before?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I made it.
You... what? You made it?
Yes. You might call it one of my, works. The prosecutor's office received a tip-off yesterday. Illegal evidence has been prepared for the trial of Zach Gramery.
Illegal evidence?
I initiated an investigation and found this witness. A painter to the world at large, Drew Misham has another side, you might say. He's as skilled in making perfect reproductions of certain things. Forgeries, in other words.
Forgeries?
Well, so we are to understand that this page here is...
fake. Prepared by a certain defense attorney.
Objection!
Hold it! I didn't prepare this evidence!
Objection!
Ah, the attorney speaks. Something about this page, I presume. But what is he saying? It makes no sense. After all, it was you who presented this evidence to us, Phoenix Wright.
Witness! Mr. Misham, was it? Who requested this forgery? Who was your client?
I don't know.
What?
Most of my clients prefer to remain anonymous. Give it to me. I make the items they want and receive my payment. That's the extent of my contact with them.
Objection!
But There's no proof this is a fake.
It's a fake.
Huh?
To avoid just this sort of problem, I always put a special mark on my works. I could say, without a doubt, this is mine.
Mr. Wright, you just presented illegal evidence to this court. My court.
It was careless of me. That's all I can say. Oh! Oh boy! Here. What's this? I don't know, I just got it over there in the hall. They told me to give it to the old boy in the blue suit with the spiky hair. They said it was really important. It was all a trap. Fatal trap.
Mr. Wright?
Yes?
Do you have an explanation for yourself?
If I did, would the court hear it?
Probably not. Forging evidence is a serious crime. Presenting it in court, a serious mistake. A fatal mistake for an attorney.
Fatal too. Perhaps for your client, I fear. Tell me, what kind of defendant relies on forged evidence? The answer is quite clear. A guilty one!
Objection!
Your Honor, wait. I understand that presenting forged evidence in court is a serious crime. But you cannot hold my client responsible for actions I undertook as an individual.
I am sorry, Mr. Wright.
Your Honor.
Not a close call, I dare say. If the prosecutor's office hadn't received that hot tip, everything would have gone the way you wanted it to, yeah? I even gave you a chance. Too bad you decided not to think before embarrassing yourself.
I see no need for further discussion on this matter. Special witness dismissed.
Mr. Attorney,
Yes?
could I, ask your name?
Phoenix Wright.
Mr. Wright, I have seen and studied many people, but none like you. I'll remember you, Mr. Wright.
I'll always remember you.
I'll always remember.
Though I deeply regret having to declare a verdict in this way, this trial is over. You have the right to find a new attorney and make an appeal. However, this court must...
Your Honor,
Yes, Mr. Zach?
there is one thing I wish to make clear. Today, in this courtroom, you cannot declare me guilty. It is impossible.
I'm afraid the defendant is quite mistaken. I most certainly have the authority to declare a verdict on you.
Except, tell me, how do you plan on announcing your verdict when your defendant does not exist?
Doesn't exist? What are you talking about?
I am talking about this!
Mr. Enigma!
The defendant's escaped! Find him! Quick!
Bailiff! Close all exits from the building!
What are you doing?
On the double! He must not be allowed to escape!
That day in that courtroom, a miracle occurred. The defendant, Shady Enigma, aka Zach Gramry, did not just escape from court. He literally, unbelievably vanished. right before the bailiff's eyes. No one ever saw him again. Not since that day.
This is the Gramarye miracle!
No verdict was declared. After all, the defendant didn't exist. That's how it happened. The trial of magician Zach Gramarye vanished, along with him, for all eternity. The mysteries that remained behind were all solved, however, but not until 7 years later.
I'm gonna go back to the investigation. No, we're not. We have 10 minutes left. We're good.
Well, we have like 4 minutes.
Yeah.
That trial 7 years ago was the beginning of it all. This I know beyond a doubt. The mystery of the past work, their magic on the present. But you'll soon be finding all of this out for yourself. Which of Magnifi Gramarye's disciples pulled that trigger? Where did the vanishing defendant Zach Gramarye go? What dark truth lurks behind the forged diary page? And what about the girl who was left behind? Find out next week on PBS, right after Downton Abbey. The past left us these 4 keys to unlocking the truth. But that's not all. There are 4 keys in the present as well. And when all the questions have found their answers, final trial will begin. But first, you must chase the truth through then and now. Think of it as a game. I get it.
It's a video game!
I, Phoenix Wright, will be your guide through this game. That terrible trial saw me present forged evidence. It ended, half finished, when the defendant vanished. What became of me after that? As your investigation proceeds, the answer will become clear. Oh, and one more thing. There's something I must tell you. As Apollo Justice has his bracelet, so too do I have my own weapon of sorts. My Magatama. What does it do, you ask? What I would have you see for yourself. Well now, shall we begin? Use to jump between the past and present. But let's begin 7 years ago, in the past. It is right after my last trial came to an abrupt end. Now that you know the game, let's play.
And we will play in
the next episode.
So thank you for watching this episode of Apollo Justice. Make sure to like, subscribe, and be notified every time we upload, which is
every single day.
Bye.